Westcast
Network.
Now things will start kicking ass, just like it said at the beginning of the program.
Man of the hour, tower of tower, too sweet to be sour.
Sending your ass on the jabroni jet to the other side of the territory, brother.
The Alabama Hammer.
Nightmares are the best part of my day. The goods from the wood.
Hot damn.
Are you ready, Rivers?
Ready, Pat?
Goodnight. Kyle.
Okay.
All right, fellas. Let's go!
All right, everybody, welcome to The Goods from the Woods. Today's show will be about the rock show. We're here with Nerdtern Numero Uno, Mr. Kyle Clark. How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Live at Disgraceland. Live at Disgraceland. We're recording this shit.
We're gonna be shooting out televisions next. We're gonna be shooting light bulbs in the pool. We're gonna be shooting everything down there.
Taking care of business, baby.
Like a TCB, brother. Red West is gonna be here later on tonight, as well as Lamar Fike and various other members of the Memphis Mafia.
You guys know Clownvis, right?
Yeah.
I love his Memphis Mafia guys because they're as committed as he is.
Well, it's all about commitment.
Clownvis Presley.
I go by Clownvis, the king of clowns, and that's exactly what I am. I'm the king of clowns. I'm here to entertain you. I'm very serious about my act. This is it, and this is time for Clownvis to shine. I am the best, and I really do think that after the judges see what I can do, we'll be all set. When we walk on that stage today, we're going to win the hearts of America.
I was at an underground wrestling event that Clownvis was in, and it started to be a match, and then the Memphis Mafia members of his group came in and beat up the other guy for him, and then dragged him away.
So he was just a special guest. Yeah. So he's not a recurring character.
No,
he's not like Stone Cold E.T., who they actually written into a actual wrestling promotion.
Wait, they did?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Tommy Dreamer's
a
wrestling.
Minute 30 in.
And we've already started talking.
I want to say I want to see Clownvis versus Jared Lawler, karate versus wrestling. Remember Elvis? They said wanted to do something like that.
Have you guys been to Graceland?
Yeah, I have.
The greatest thing is his pool house, which is just dedicated to at a certain point in Elvis's life, he liked to stay up all night doing karate.
Yeah.
And it's just Lisa Marie telling like, yeah, I didn't think it was weird as a kid. And looking back, it's fucking weird.
His black belts were really bogus, though.
Yeah, they were.
They were.
He also
was as bad as Billy Graham.
Elvis. He also collected badges, famously, and would use his authority.
Yeah.
He pulled a woman over for swerving, like just going all over the road.
Did he use his DEA badge that he got from Nixon?
No, that was like the prize of his collection,
Yeah.
and he had been working to get that his whole life. This was like earlier on, and I don't remember which town, but basically, if you don't know, Elvis would just roll into town, and he collected all these badges. So he would go to the police department, and of course, it's Elvis, and they're not going to say no to him. So he'd be like, "Can I get a badge?" And they sure, and they deputize him. So he collected badges from all over America. And he's in some town, and he's in the back of the limo, and the woman in front of him is swerving around the road. So he pulls her over, thinking it's going to be DUI or something, but she's actually in labor, trying to get to the hospital. And basically, the baby she sees Elvis, freaks out, and the baby starts coming out immediately. So
who's a better celebrity special deputy? Would that be Elvis, Shaq, or Steven Seagal?
Is there even a question of this?
It's Elvis.
It's clearly Elvis.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know. Wait, is Shaka
Yeah,
Where's
Shaq.
Shaq deputized?
Dade County.
That asshole in is that Arizona?
No, he was deputized in Miami, and he used to do, from what I remember, internet like To Catch a Predator type guys. So what he would do is he'd get on the computer and be like 13F Miami, and little did they know that at the other end of the computer. That was Shaquille O'Neal, who was the complete opposite of a 13F.
I miss them days of the internet when it was anonymous and everybody was pretending to be a 13-year-old girl. Even Shaq. Nowadays, you got no privacy on the damn thing. Everywhere you go, people checking your ass in and all this shit. In those days, you could be cybersexing with some teenage girl, and it turned out it was Shaquille O'Neal. You know, brings a whole new meaning. Do you want me to dunk it? You understand?
Goodnight, you worked backwards to get to the junket line.
Oh, yeah. Like a great poet or something.
Detaining pedophiles with some Shaq Fu.
Exactly.
Hand-to-hand combat.
Kazam.
Yeah.
Remember that one? He was involved with kids in that one. So
Yeah.
that's kinda
I
suspicious
saw
right there.
Kazam in the theater, and I think
I saw Steel in the theater.
Oh, Steel? Oh,
Yeah.
God.
I saw Abe
Kazam.
Vigoda in a theater once.
I rented both and also rented Abe Vigoda.
The hipster band or the actor?
There's a
It was
band?
the band, but with Abe Vigoda playing
Oh,
in
man.
the band.
I'd love to see that. That would be a hell of a show.
I'd love to see a band just made up of the cast of Barney Miller.
Kyle, what band have you seen more than any other
I think
band?
more than any is probably the band Against Me. I think I've seen them 17 times.
Wow.
Damn.
I stalked them for a period of 5 years. They were my favorite band for a long time.
Have you seen them
I've
since
seen
the
them-
Laura Jean
I've
Grace?
seen them once since it changed over to Laura Jane Grace,
Uh-huh.
and they were great. That was
Yeah.
actually what won me over because I really did not enjoy their last record because I just thought it wasn't, after a bunch of great records, just not a lot of hooks, not great. And then saw them and like it all sort of came flooding back. I was like, oh, I love this band.
But as Laura Jane Grace does he sing in kind of
It
a
sounds
more
exactly the same.
Really? Yeah. That's interesting.
That's the craziest thing about it is she still sounds exactly the same.
So once he starts going through like more profound hormone therapy,
I think the amount of liquor and cigarettes
Yeah, that's
and
true.
drugs consumed by Laura/Tom have created a very indefinite vocal because it's got just sort of like that Joan Jett
yeah.
vibe but like what's great is she just fucking rocks out and she looks like she's having a great time.
Mm-hmm.
The band sounds great with him, and so it's been. But I've seen him through I think all of the variations on the drummers, and along those lines, like they were a fun band to stock. For
What was the first time you saw them?
First time I saw them was the tour where they were opening for Rise Against and Anti-Flag. And I
Okay.
just remember because I did not stay to see Rise Against or Anti-Flag, and it was the most excited I think I've ever been for a concert. Like, because at that point I'd been just an obsessive fan. I was in a band that was covering one of their songs, like was just totally obsessed.
Mm-hmm.
And to have them as sort of the middle band on a 5-band thing, and it was before it was really easy to find pictures. I mean, I could have tried to look up what they looked like, but it never occurred to me to do so. So I just remember me and a couple of my friends at the show. I'd made a homemade shirt for the show. Like I was the only time I've ever been the guy wearing the shirt. But I needed people to know this is the band I'm here to see. And so I had a black T-shirt with whiteout pens.
Did you have Against Me also written on your JanSport backpack as well?
I might have. No, I think by that point I was in patch mode. So.
Oh, okay.
So that's an interesting thing. Like the days when you don't know what a band actually looks like.
And it was amazing because when the curtain opened, it was at the Fonda in Los Angeles, the Henry Fonda Theater, and the curtain opened and it's just these 4 dudes. I just remember me and my friends I'm standing with. Is that them? I think that's them. They started into the first notes. That's them, and we just ran forward. We had to get confirmation.
I remember I was a big Leonard Skynyrd fan back in the day, and this was before like you could just go on the internet and look them up.
And they weren't photographed a ton.
Well, yeah. Well, the thing was, in those days too, they didn't show older bands like that from the '70s on TV unless they'd made a movie or something. Yeah. So I remember going through the tapes, and you know how the tapes would always skimp on the liner notes, and just looking at the little picture and trying to figure out which one was Ronnie and all that. And I didn't figure it out until I got.
Dude always on fire?
Well, yeah, that's why I was like, Ronnie's kind of fat because I thought Ed King was Ronnie.
Right.
But the only way I was able to figure it out was, remember, the box set.
At least you didn't think that Billy Powell was Ronnie.
Well, no, I didn't think Bill Powell looks like a grandmother with a mustache or something like that. But like the only way I was able to figure it out was very nice now the box set, which were the coolest damn things, and that green Skynyrd box set and the booklet that came with that. It was finally I figured out who was who. Because Ronnie looks different on the first album.
To this day, when I envision Ronnie, I realize I'm just picturing Dwayne Allman. Like I don't know why, but like I've just decided that Leonard Skynyrd and the Allman Brothers double for each other in my brain. I don't know why, but that's
Shame.
just
I'm
how
on
I
the
envision
Skynyrd
them.
band myself.
Yeah, I was always a Skynyrd man myself. I never really cared much for...
Really, for the Allman Brothers?
Well,
Too jammy.
Live.
Oh, the jams are good.
Yeah, they're like live at Fillmore East is
fucking
amazing.
out.
Almond's much better live band.
Yeah,
but when it
like
came to the records, I was like,
yeah,
Skynyrd.
I agree because I've listened to live Skynyrd and it really and there's the stories about Skynyrd just blowing everybody off the stage and I didn't really care for it whenever I listened.
They famously
to it.
blew the Stones off stage, but this was like mid-70s drugged out Ron Wood era Rolling Stones. It wasn't like Mick Taylor era, like '69 Stones, which probably would have been a different story.
Most definitely. Skynyrd are a band I came to late in the game because I resisted for such a long time, and then at some point, like, just was in the right emotional state, and Tuesday's Gone came on. I'm like, all right, guys.
Train roll on down the line.
Oh God, I love that. I used to try to draw. I don't know if you ever seen the cover to Second Helping, their second album.
Oh, yeah.
But it's this like psychedelic rainbow colored thing with like hidden pot leaves in it and all that shit. And I used to try to draw that and everything. I love Skynyrd.
The first time I consciously remember Leonard Skynyrd was I had a tape that I'd gotten for Christmas called the 500 Home Run Club with Bob Costas and Mickey Mantle, who was probably drunk off his ass because this was pre-liver transplant Mickey Mantle, and which, by the way, I didn't really know that Mickey Mantle was a real person. I thought he was just a baseball card, but but at the beginning, it was one of those cabin fever home entertainment things where they have the tapes where they would come out with various like concert documentaries or 500 Home Run Club, and the first. And also Sand with Muscles. They produced Sand with Muscles.
Hogan joint.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's the one where he doesn't have the mustache.
Yeah,
right?
it is. No, he has a mustache. Secret Agents Club is the one where he doesn't have the mustache. But I digress. They had a trailer for a Lynyrd Skynyrd concert documentary about, I think, when they reformed and went on their first tour with the brother. Yeah, and at the beginning it would just they listed off the people, and it was just like, who are these guys? They look so. And I remember I was really weirded out by Artemis Pyle, like because he did this thing where it was this weird, and I'm gonna try and he's on the bus, right? He's on the top of the bus doing a Teen Wolf, it seems like, and you know how there's the opening in the top of any sort of tour bus, and he's straddling it like this.
Like the Colossus of Rhodes.
Yeah. And he's wearing these red pants and his hair is like going in the wind, and it's just like, who the fuck is this guy?
For the benefit of the people listening at home, Pat is actually doing this on chairs right now.
I'm impressed. You are dedicated to a visual.
I got into.
I'm an athlete.
Have
That's
any of
why
you
I'm
guys
dressed in
gone
these
and seen
basketball
Skynyrd
shorts.
in any of the reunion modes?
I have.
once.
I loved him. I saw him. It was 1995. And I got to admit, I thought, I love Skynyrd, but this is just going to be stupid. I was blown away by the damn thing. They even did Tifa, Texas, and I thought that was badass.
Summer 2004.
Ooh.
Lynyrd Skynyrd, Jubilee City Fest, Montgomery, Alabama.
Oh, this is the famous one where they played opposite LL Cool J.
LL Cool J was playing at the same time. And the funniest thing about that show is that after, 40 years, they still pretend that they're not going to play Freebird. So they do the thing where they end with Sweet Home Alabama, and the giant Confederate flag unfurls behind him, and they start, and they play Sweet Home Alabama, and then after it's over, everybody's going apeshit, and they're like, all right, good night. And then, like, they walk off stage, and you're like, why the fuck?
Folded arms, waiting patiently.
The only time in which you can reasonably chant Freebird and it not being fucking
say the same
annoying.
thing.
Yeah,
That'd be the one concert.
Yeah. Just play some Skynyrd.
I actually think that was the other thing that traumatized me to Skynyrd for a while was when I was first learning to play guitar. The music school I was at would do recitals, twice a year. Yeah. And the first one I was supposed to be in was for to play Sweet Home Alabama, and I learned it. I still know how to play the fucking song. But my brother couldn't get it on drums in time, so we got cut from the show. And so
shit.
Fuck Lynyrd Skynyrd.
He's no Artemis Pyle, yo, brother. Or Bob Burns, the original Skynyrd drummer.
There's a place in, it's called 5 Points, Alabama, and it's on Highway 431. And basically, you have to pass this place anytime I'm going to my grandparents' house when I was a kid. And there's a place, has a sign that says, 5 Points Music Hall, live music every Thursday. And I've been passing this thing my whole life, and I've just never gone. And so a couple of years ago, me and my friends were like, dude, let's just go and just see what it is. And it's this house that's attached to a juke joint. So
I love it already.
It's like got this big open, weird dance floor area, and you walk in, and it's all these old people kind of line dancing, and then more people come in, and you basically pay $3, and they have a bunch of food.
What's weird is "What's Your Name" is already playing in my head as
Yeah.
I'm describing the place.
Well, no, it was the reason I bring it up is because basically, if you can just get up and just play a song. If you can play
rad.
guitar, they just have like an open jam, and then they also have people from the town come in. And the funny thing is, like, the lady who owns the place, she's like, "They ain't gonna be no drinking in my establishment," but everybody is just drinking whiskey at the fire station across the street. So
Quite literally, the
I
fire
want-
station.
yeah, so
I want to go to where you live
we'll
so
do it.
badly.
We'll do it. It's
We are doing a run
We
just
got to.
because I have to make a pilgrimage.
Oh, absolutely. And so everybody's drunk as shit at the fire station. They walk across the street to the music hall. So everybody's drunk. And as the night goes on, basically, at some point, you know, this Voltron is going to assemble, and these 4 guys that live in the town are going to come together and play together,
Or
right?
blazing sword.
Yeah, so 3 of the 4 members are there. And then they're like, "All right, man, as soon as Gator gets here, we gonna crank this thing up, man. All right." So we're gonna play a few more, and they were just playing, you know, it's like Dwight Yoakam, and so it was good, you know. And so I'm sitting there, and I realize they keep gesturing over to this table. They're like, "Man, as soon as Gator gets his shit together, man, we're gonna do it." And I realize, like, oh, the man asleep at the table next to us is Gator. And Gator, at one point, finally, he just gets up. They're like, "Get the hell up here, Gator. Let's do this thing." And he's like, "Can you count us off?" And Gator's still like half asleep, completely drunk behind the drum set. And he goes, "Can you count us off?" He goes, and he just hits the snare drum once. And they're like, "All right." But here's the thing. Gator is exactly half a step behind them. And so they keep slowing the song down to get to Gator, so they're going, bam, bam, and Gator like just slightly behind the beat.
It's like a tape that's warped.
Oh, it's perfect. Well, because the whole thing is like the drummer is supposed to lead the band more or less, but these guys were like, "Well, he's too drunk. We're just gonna have to go, and hopefully he can follow us. So this is the greatest show of 5 Points Alabama's ever seen." But he was just too fucked up, and I think they finished the whole song, and then they were like, "All right, get the hell out of here."
Oh, won't you give me 3 steps? Give me 3 steps of mister. Give me 3 steps towards your door. Give me 3 steps. Give me 3 steps of mister, and you'll never see me no more.
Are you guys drive-by truckers people?
That is actually the band I have seen the most. I think,
I want to see them again. So if you keep track, if they come through here, I will fucking go with you.
Yeah.
The only time I've seen them was at Bonnaroo in 2008 when
Yeah.
they played with Booker T.
Yeah,
And I remember
yeah.
thinking, I hate their name to this day. And they're, at this point, one of my favorite bands.
Oh, yeah.
And I still
With Harlem
hate their
Heat.
name with a passion. but I remember seeing them and going like, "Oh, I get it now. They're Leonard Skynyrd, but they're smart guys."
right, yeah, exactly. It's an American studies class taught by Leonard Skynyrd.
Before you get into to the drive-by truckers, I remember I grew up outside of Jacksonville,
Yeah.
which is Leonard Skynyrd. Leonard Skynyrd is
Oh,
from
hell yeah.
Jacksonville.
They got a
And
Ronnie
that's-
Van Zant State Park, don't
Yeah,
they?
yeah, and they're like
Dude, we have
God.
to go play Frisbee there.
Oh, hell yeah.
They're gods in Jacksonville. They're
Yeah.
absolute gods because that's the only significant cultural thing that has ever come out of Jacksonville, Florida. It's like the 12th biggest city in America. You know,
Yeah.
that's how devoid it is. But I remember one time, I think it was around 1999, 2000, when Limp Bizkit's Significant Other came
Because
out.
they're also from Jacksonville.
They're also from Jacksonville,
Oh, wow.
and they
Yeah,
just
I know
had
that knowledge on hand.
they had only one big hit that came out, Faith. That cover of that George Michael
Yeah,
song.
yeah.
Up to that point, you
Up
mean.
to that point, well, I wish. But they had the special about the making of Significant Other, and from what I remember, it's either Kurt Loder or the other guy, Chris Conley.
Yeah.
And they're both
Not
like
John Norris.
but I think it was Chris Conley or Kurt Loder. Both
Was it Kennedy?
esteemed both at their time. No, it was Bill
Sway.
Bellamy,
Or
Downtown Julie Brown.
Dan Cortez.
Serena, whatever.
I would have got with Martha Quinn. I'm not shitting you. I would have got with that woman. She'd be like fucking that girl from
Tabitha
Greece,
Soren.
kind of.
Kennedy was cute, too.
Yeah. No, Kennedy was a Republican,
Nobody's perfect.
but not like a Teddy Roosevelt Republican.
They can't all be Serena Outstraw, but
That's what I was going for.
one of them, and I know because they were like rock journalists beforehand with some credibility, I could tell that they probably had like the stove open or they're just
ready to eat that gun.
yeah, when it was over. And they said, I think from what I remember, they said the most significant band to ever come out of Jacksonville, Florida. And I was like, what the fuck is this bullshit?
That is fucking revision at its worth.
Are you kidding me?
But that was 1989.
Molly Hatchet is more significant than...
Wait,
God damn it!
Oh yeah, wait, 38 Special, technically, right? Because Donnie's from Jacksonville.
Donnie looks more like Ronnie than Johnny.
That's true, yeah.
That's the best sentence that's going to happen.
That's sentence like Skynyrd East.
That's our short description on iTunes. Johnny looks more like
probably my
Ronnie
fault.
than Johnny.
It's probably my fault, but this thing always turns into Leonard Skynyrd podcast at some point.
Oh shit!
So I'm trying to think other like bands I've seen a shitload. Like Social Distortion is up there. I have a regrettable Social Distortion tattoo. I feel like all three of you already know that because I'm pretty open with my regrets as a 19-year-old. They were the first band I ever saw. I think I've seen them 9 times. Although the last time I saw them, I was like, oh, good, I'm done.
Yeah.
Because they had 2 of my favorite acts opening for them who both played horribly because they had Chuck Reagan opening. And then after that, they had Lucero playing.
Oh, nice.
And then
Lucero.
Social D played, and they have just decided to turn into the county fair touring band of punk rock. And it's
they're the
saddest
They're
thing.
the punk rock Bruce Springsteen,
But
I think.
here's the thing, like they're great when they're writing those like sad, oh, I fucked up and now I'm an old man looking back on memories thing. But then they decided at 80 to go like, I'm a badass with a Tommy gun and a suit. I'm like, no, you're not. You stop that right now.
You're
and
the
tell us you feel bad
you're
for
the
being a booze
monster.
hound.
You're the monster that ate Mike Ness.
Like
you're not.
even the other State of Mind documentary. I still hate that Mike Ness. Like I only like a broken rock bottom Mike Ness because then you get good songs.
I was gonna say, I think I've seen Drop by Truckers 27 times.
Jesus,
Something
Christ.
ridiculous because they tour so much.
Do they recognize you at this point?
Well, no, but
Against Me did for a while. They're like, oh, because me and my brother are so distinctive because like we're both giants.
Right.
My brother has the long red hair that like we've been at really small shows where like the bass were like, hey.
yeah. Well, he's not in the band anymore, but I've interviewed Jason Isbell before, and he got us into one of their shows.
Is
when he
Jason
was still
Isbell
in
the
band.
other songwriter on the records?
He's the one. He wrote Decoration Day.
Okay.
And,
See, I always feel bad because
Outfit.
I love
good one.
Patterson Hood,
Yeah.
but I think my favorite album from them is Decoration Day, and I think my top 3 songs in are all not Patterson Hood songs.
Oh, what?
Because like
Marry
it's Marry
Me?
Me,
Yeah.
because that's my favorite thing they've ever
it's
done.
the best, yeah.
And then Outfit.
Yeah.
And then My Sweet Annette.
Yeah.
And like all 3 are not Patterson.
My Sweet Annette's Patterson.
That's Patterson Hood song. Okay.
Yeah.
God
God damn it. Yeah.
it's such a good record.
But
That's a good all the
amazing.
way through album.
But I'd seen him in Atlanta and Birmingham a couple times, and then they came to Auburn when I was 19, and I was like, "Fuck yeah!" because they're playing in my hometown.
Was it a college programming gig?
No, it was
man.
it was at this at a place called Sky Bar, and they were playing at Sky Bar, and Sky Bar is 21 and up. So and I was only 19. I was like, "Fuck, man!" And so I got off the little transit bus from school downtown and just was walking around after class. And truly, my motive was to find somebody in the band and be like, "Can I get on the list?" And we walked all around downtown Auburn, didn't see anybody. And then I was like, "Oh, let's walk by the venue one time." And we're walking by the back of the venue, and I just hear somebody playing guitar behind a dumpster. And it's Jason Isbell leaning. He's in a folding chair, leaning up against the dumpster, drunk as fuck at like 3 PM, and playing guitar and just singing. I'm like, "Hey, what's going on, man?"
I thought it was going to be Gator.
Huh? And he's like, "Oh, hey, man." I'm like, "Yeah, this is 21 and up. Is there any way we can get on the list?" He's like, "Yeah, what's your name?" And I told him, "It's Rivers." He's like, "I was going to write Rivers +2. I was like, "All right."
Nice.
And I'm like, "There's no way he's going to remember any of that," but got in, man.
That happened
awesome.
to me
Solid
with a band
dude.
that's probably one of the top best concerts I've ever been to was the band Mission of Burma when they reunited.
Yeah, I fucking
they were
love
playing at the Troubadour, Boston band.
Yeah, legend.
Yeah.
And,
When I
and
reached my revolver.
when they reunited back in like 2007 or whatever, I was obsessed with them. And
The only show they were playing in L.A. was 21 and Over one. And I sent them a message on MySpace.
Oh, nice.
I'm bummed. You guys are one of my favorite bands. And they let me come in. They let me be their roadie for the show.
Wow.
And
That's awesome.
I ran their merch table, but I got to hang out their sound check. I went out to dinner with them, and then they let me hang for the show. And the nicest bunch of dudes I've ever met. Clint Connolly is one of the most stand-up quality human beings I've ever met. But
That's
everybody
super
else,
cool.
the man, is amazing too. But just all those guys are just classy dudes. Just some random 19-year-old pops up.
Yeah.
Cause I'm not. Your academy. Your academy.
I love when that happens, when you actually meet somebody that you love
it's
their
weird
work
'cause-
and they're
'cause
super nice.
It's so disappointing sometimes when the opposite happens
Yeah.
and they're kind of lame. Like,
Yeah.
there's definitely, I feel like, bands and like different people who I've stopped liking because like you meet them and they're kind of shitty.
Right.
But then on the flip side, when you meet somebody and they're totally what you were hoping they'd be, like that's even better.
yeah,
But
but
never meet your idols.
I've gotten lucky once. When I met Rollins, he was exactly what I wanted him to be. He was so cool, and I thought I'd freak out and be all nervous and nerdy, and instead we just started talking about music.
Deceptively
You know,
short man, that
yeah.
Henry Rollins.
I never imagined
Deceptively
him
short.
giants.
A lot,
Like
really.
I always figured he'd be a tiny guy. I guess it's because I'm tall, so he looked
But
like
if they ever
small
not what
guy.
you imagine them to be, even
Oh,
if it's
most
public
definitely.
persona, I would say, just wrestling for a moment, if I ever met Stan Hansen, the Lariat, and he wasn't mean as shit to me and threw shit at me, told me to get the hell out of here.
You make me sick, you long-haired weirdo. So you're popular with all the girls now. It don't make no difference to me because Stan Hansen, I'm the founder of the Lariat. You're nothing but a copycat, boy.
I went to see Social Distortion. There was a drunk guy who kept sort of like falling on top of me and the people I was with, and I pushed him. And the next thing I know, I have a fist in my jaw, and I am on the ground.
Wow.
And the one thing that was great about it is I then watched my brother, as I'm sort of half conscious, like spear the guy and take him to the ground. And security took those guys away, but not us. Like, we won. Like
That was the rest of the show.
That was fun. I thought I'd broken my jaw, but I discovered by singing along to songs, it slowly loosened up, and
Well, that's good.
like it's fine now.
Therapy.
I
Music
passed.
therapy,
I
if you
passed
will.
out at a Social D show.
I almost passed out of socially. Like they
Yeah.
get pretty intense, and like I'm the compulsive rocker outer guy. Like
Yeah, I'd also gotten the drunkest I'd ever gotten the night before.
I ate a
Oh.
big Cajun dinner once, and then saw the band the Cadillac Tramps, who were
Okay.
like a really good Orange County like psychobilly band,
Uh-huh.
and then it was at the Anaheim House of Blues, and we were staying at the Grand Californian for a wedding,
Mm-hmm.
and I was super dehydrated afterwards and ended up throwing up in the elevator
All right.
like a lot, and to the point where the vomit spread and fell between the cracks in
Yes.
the elevator, and you could hear it dripping down the thing.
nice.
And what was great was I was wearing this Grateful Dead shirt I used to have that just had the logo on it. And I was like laying in the pool of vomit and then just like left all the clothes that I was wearing that night in a bag. And so
Oh, no.
after that, I got the shirt cleaned and there was just one part of the Grateful Dead logo that was just like faded and destroyed from stomach acid. And so I would just wear it then because then I felt like it was a true hippie shirt because it had vomit stains on it.
The guy I've seen the most is actually Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan? That's
Yeah.
not
How many
bad
times
at
have you
all.
seen him?
Like 6 or 7.
I've seen him once, and I have to say I was impressed. Like I thought,
My brother loved Bob Dylan, and he dragged me to see him in like the 90s, and I expected just like, but you know how he does that stuff? They call it the Never Ending Tour,
Yeah.
and he has his little band, and he actually like jams out a lot.
yeah,
and
he
shit.
does.
Yeah.
He, like when I saw him, did he play a lot of keyboard when you saw him?
Well, that was the thing. In the 90s, you didn't usually it was a big deal if you got a keyboard show. Somewhere around 2003, I think he started to get arthritic or something.
Yeah.
And so most of the Dylan shows you see now are keyboard shows. But it used to be that like in Dylan fandom, if you saw a keyboard show, that was a big deal. But nowadays he mostly plays keyboard. So all the ones that I saw in the 2000s were all keyboard shows. But the 90s ones I saw were guitar shows.
I was impressed because he plays a nice mix because he played newer stuff, but he does still throw down. Like they did All Along the Watchtowers, his big closer, and it was great.
Yeah, well, shit, he did. Well, the first time I saw him, he opened with Joker Man.
Oh, wow.
And I remember reading a review in a fanzine afterwards that said something. He opened with a song that probably nobody wanted him to open with. And I said, no, you should see my brother, man. He was way into that shit.
I think Dylan's fun because he is one of those guys, and I think there's a very specific type of band that gets this mentality and their fans where when you have that much output, just that ability to like pull through and find those little golden
Well, yeah, and
moments.
he rearranges them so much.
Yeah.
They all sound like some kind of like country song.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, this is, the Mighty Quinn or whatever he's doing now. Although in the more recent times I've seen him, like he did a lot of Modern Times because he recorded that album with his touring band.
Yeah.
So he did a lot of that, and that was more similar to the stuff.
I love that record.
I think
like
the last
that one,
couple
too.
of records he's done are pretty good.
I was way into what was it called, Love and Theft,
That's a great record.
and it really was. And
Good book,
Modern
too.
Times. Was the book
and
about
Theft.
minstrelsy.
Yeah.
And all that. He should have went up there and done some Burt Williams or some shit like that. Just in blackface. They could have like a Mr.
Jesus.
Interlocutor and a Mr.
Did you guys
Bones
see the
and everything.
Scorsese documentary they did on Bob Dylan?
No Direction Home.
Yeah.
The one that was on PBS.
Was that what? Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the first half, and for whatever reason, I never saw the second episode.
The best thing is at one point when they were interviewing, he was like, "Yeah, I just remember I'd go to carnivals and you'd see George Washington in blackface. I didn't understand why."
Yeah, it was like that late period blackface. After World War II, blackface gets sketchy, and so it's sort of under the radar.
I wonder why.
Well, no, the thing I always
I
remember
wonder why.
is, do you remember the episode of All in the Family where the baby is born, where the meathead and you remember Archie was at some thing at like his lodge or something like that, and they were doing a blackface show. So when the baby's, but he comes to the hospital in blackface.
Aren't you a little old for trick or treats?
I'm only dressed this way because I was in a minstrel show.
A what?
A menstrual show. A menstrual show.
Minstrel.
And that's 70s blackface. So you can see it still vestigially existed.
Now
that late.
it just exists in frat houses.
Yeah, but blackface was great in its day. Black performers used to go on in blackface. Pigmeat Martin could never get used. He was black and he performed blackface. He could never get used to performing without it.
He was the one who they stopped booking him for stuff because he kept coming out in blackface.
Yeah.
And, like the venues, but hey, could you stop doing that?
Yeah, and he wrote a book. I got it at like a thrift store or something. A Pigmeat Martin book from the late 60s or something. But anyway, the point is I've seen Bob Dylan a lot. And it's usually good.
There's Al Jolson.
Oh, Al Jolson was the shit.
Well, here's the funniest
That
thing.
ending of The Jazz Singer is, if you're let's say an uninformed 19-year-old in film school, mind exploding.
Yeah.
Well, shit, but like when that movie premiered, the first scene with just him and the girl at the piano with the dialogue, the audience erupted because they were so excited by that. Al Jolson was a great performer and no race. He used to perform at the Apollo and all this. And Al Jolson was not exploitive. Al Jolson, it's been said, and it's true, wasn't like ripping off black culture. It was a white man releasing himself through being black. Kind of like Goodnight.
Goodnight, smiling at me. Nothing but blue skies do I see. Oh, bluebird singing a song. Nothing but little bluebird all day long.
Who have you seen the most, Pat?
All right, I was trying to compute this in my head, and I really because I don't have any bands that I've seen. Well, I take that back. There's a number of bands that I saw locally because I lived in Atlanta.
I don't count those because I have a couple like
and
that.
I
that
mean,
I've
some of
seen.
those guys actually became like legitimate
great
bands, like the Black Lips and stuff like that. But I'm gonna throw one band that is hilarious that I've seen multiple times, and that band is Sister Hazel.
Yeah.
That is a good hook. That chorus.
Oh God. So
I
bad.
remember waiting for them to perform on The Big Help on Nickelodeon and being so excited.
God, the big help.
The Big Help.
Do you remember?
Did Lori Beth Denberg introduce them?
Might have been.
Oh yeah. Anyway, Sister Hazel plays a lot of like state fairs and a lot of county fairs, but they also have carved out a great niche. Now that the '90s reunion thing has come on, they probably have another place to go. with performing with like Smash Mouth and Dog's Eye View and Tonic and all those.
I love that you're
pieces
the
of
only other
shit.
guy I know who will bring up Dog's Eye View in
Dog's
a
Eye View
conversation.
is-
The band that's remembered by two people, you and me.
I think they're the ultimate
now
'90s
you-
just
you're
shit
listening.
band.
I don't know. I feel like Dog's Eye View. I feel like could have existed as like a late '80s college band.
No,
No, you don't think so?
no.
They had some good hooks.
I have
in there.
no idea who the fuck this is.
Everything falls apart.
All everything
and then
was-
it's had to put it back together now.
All right, point taken. I
Um,
mostly just go the Daisy album. It's a little mellower, a little less '90s.
I'm more of a Dishwalla guy, but
Also an underrated band.
oh, Jesus Christ.
Charlie Brown's parents, man.
Oh God. But they used to play a lot of college programming
Yeah.
things. And the thing about college programming is that the people that run college programming are not savvy promoters or people that know how to pay for bands and booking talent. These are like 20-year-olds that don't know shit. So they basically will be like a band. They call a band, and the band's like, "Yeah, fucking, we'll play for $25,000." And they're like, "All right, here you go." And it's like, really? Like these people are idiots, and whatever. So
I saw Third Eye Blind when I went to USC.
I saw Third Eye Blind when I was in 8th grade.
I
They
saw
played it.
Everclear.
Their opener was Eve 6.
Wow, that's
my
awful.
first favorite band.
Yeah?
I shit you not. They were the first
Yikes.
band who I called my favorite band.
So anyway, I'm just gonna cut this off before I kill you. They used to have. So they
Look,
would
man,
have
you can't
this.
just have Guided by Voices records. You got to diversify.
I don't like Guided by
You gotta
Voices
put your
either.
tender heart in a blender, dude. Go watch it spin around.
Rendezvous. Although no, never mind.
Here's to the night we felt.
Off the second album. not the
Yeah.
first.
So when I went to college, they toured us around. And where I lived in Florida, you never had, because bands did not come to Florida because geographically it's stupid,
Yeah.
because the two big cities to hit are Atlanta and Miami. And Miami's like 11 hours away.
Yeah.
And then you have to go back up. So that's like geographically, you could play Jacksonville, you could play Orlando, but, so bands rarely came to Florida. So when I toured the college that I went to, they were like, "Yeah, we get band parties and bands come." And I had the image from PCU of
Parliament Funkadelic playing
Parliament
the house.
Funkadelic playing the house, and I was like,
Damn, I love that movie.
So, and then they were also talking about the artists they had gotten before, and they had gotten like Outkast and other people like that.
That makes sense because they're
And-
sort of based out
of
here.
Atlanta. Yeah. So I was just like, "Oh, cool! I'm going to see Outkast all the time. This is going to be great."
I'm just gonna
First
hang out with
band party that came was Everclear, and it was awful. Everclear is by far.
Sparkle and Fade's a good record.
Shut up. They're. It's not that they're bad.
Now, Halem's a really depressing song.
It's not that
Art
they're-
Alexakis, who is listening to this show.
Well,
Just
then
found
he'll
songs.
finally,
I
then
like
he'll finally know
Everclear.
who it is because I went to it and they played "Father of Mine," and I was in my little angry punk phase, and they played, and everybody claps, and I just yell, "Hey, Art! I would have left you too." And there was silence, and he just like got this look in his eye,
That is like
he was
scampy
seeing
punk
red.
rock thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's,
I mean, that was some heckling. Have you had heckler karma since that? Has that come back to you after that?
No, not yet.
It's going to happen, Jay.
Yeah, I know. Art
I
Alex.
want Art
you're waiting
Alexakis
for a
to be in a
fall.
crowd and go, "Hey, Pat, I'd tear you like a phone book."
Yeah,
It's like,
no.
boom, I waited years for that shit.
Yeah, I know. Smash a bottle over my head and tell me that I'm going to hell with him. But no, I feel really bad about that. But there were people that I would meet at school, and they would be like, "Wait a minute, were you were you the Everclear guy?"
And then you're known as Everclear guy.
No,
the
I mean,
ultimate irony of it.
was weird. Yeah.
I saw the band Bomb the Music Industry, who were one of my favorite bands. They
Yeah.
just stopped touring, but they were one of my favorite touring bands. I've done 5 or 6 times. And one of the best shows I saw them do, they just kept cutting their songs, and in the middle of the songs, playing Santa Monica from Everclear.
Oh, man.
And then going back into their songs.
That's awesome. But yeah, no. So Sister Hazel came to my school 3 times.
Whoa, that's too many
3
times.
times. Them and Guster played all the time.
There's
They
few
had,
bands I
like-
hate more than Guster.
Then I maybe should have said Guster because it's like because I remember they played my graduation party at the
Jesus.
school. So like they had the class of 2006 day, and everybody was going to go to party and drink free soda because they didn't have beer. And
were you dry campus?
They tried to make it dry.
We were dry campus except for like one location.
Yeah, the business school used to have free beer, which was awesome. But or you had to wait in a big old long line when they did have beer, and it was just not even worth it. You should have snuck a flask. But Guster played it, and I remember touring around, like walking around with my dad, and my dad's just looking at the program, and he's just like, "What's the Guster?" And I'm just like, "Oh, they're a band." He's like, "Hey, sound like fucking garbage."
And he's not wrong.
And he's not wrong.
My first roommate in college, like, it could not have been more opposite me.
Yeah, everybody had.
He was a little handsome surf guy with who was starting to try to grow white guy dreadlocks.
Oh, nice.
And,
wait, hold on. Let me guess. OAR.
Yes, but his big ones he was a big Jack Johnson guy.
Of course.
Hold on.
Guster.
The Dispatch.
No, but the best one was the band Animal Liberation Orchestra.
Oh,
okay, they have a lyric that he would play.
String cheese incident.
They're a little different though because they're more jam bandy.
Yeah, there's like this little thing that I just call soccer kid music. That's the Dispatch. That fucking
Animal Liberation Orchestra have a lyric where it's a guy talking about how he's going to seduce a girl by taking her on a nice evening out.
I'll cook you up some dinner, a little pasta. I'll listen to some music, a little Rasta.
And I just would boil with rage.
That's like that is the opposite of Dead Prez's mind sex.
God. I would just and we had a game at a certain point. Like at a certain point, we were able to because he was a musician too, and he was fun to jam with. But we came from so far the opposite ends, and basically we realized if you take guy who loves hardcore punk rock and indie rock, and guy who loves like bad reggae and like folksy music,
Slightly
you
stupid.
meet in the middle
Oh God,
at Ben
I saw
Folds.
them once.
At
That
Ben Folds?
sucks.
Ben Folds was our middle ground, but when he would put on like Animal Liberation Orchestra or Jason Mraz, I would put on the Blood Brothers, or the Locust, until we were at a standstill. And we just agreed that there was just certain bands that were iPod music and certain bands we could listen to in the room together.
Before we get too far away from it, my thing with Sister Hazel, as you said, they played a lot of colleges. They had just a standing date every spring in Auburn.
Yeah.
They're just there. No one asked for this.
They do the territory. They do
They're-
the college territory.
They're inevitable, like
Yeah.
like a fucking yearly.
They're like
flood or
Abdul the
something.
Butcher. They'll hit every spot show.
Gary Hart comes by and introduces them once a year.
One of the fun, and if you don't know, Sister Hazel had their one song sounds exactly like the Counting Crows, pretty
And
much.
they kind of also sound like Dave Matthews Band, like in the.
Yeah, but that how does I want it is
I see in you.
Right, that-
If I'll always be with you.
You'll bring up
Words can't say it. I hate that part where he just goes, words can't sing it.
you'll bring up Sister Hazel. People will be like, I don't think I know them. And
Now
then
they know.
And then you sing that song, and they'll be like, oh, I thought that was Counting Crows. So
That was
with
me,
Words
actually.
can't sing.
So with that, one of the funniest things ever.
I just wrote hit songs in the 90s, and that was his job.
They were just standing around. They were playing at Auburn, and some guys off to the side just screaming at the stage, going, "Mr. Jones, Long December."
There was, I think somebody told me about this one time. They went to go see John Anderson of Yes perform, and
That's your first
Fuck
mistake.
yeah.
no, but they saw John Anderson, and there was this like drunk guy with a skullet there.
Yeah.
And you know how people would just sing out y'all it sounds like you'd imagine at a Yes thing, people would be like roundabout, or something
Yeah, yeah.
like that. This
Don't
guy-
you own some kind of heart?
Yeah,
Starship Trooper.
yeah. So you'd expect
A.
you'd expect that, but this drunk you'd expect that, but this drunk skullet throughout the entire show during it was just yelling, "Shit on my chest! Shit on my chest!"
Similarly, saw Ben Folds in Atlanta with my friend John, and we're standing around in like everybody is just screaming, "Brick! Play Brick!" Right? Finally, John does one of the fucking funniest things in my whole life. He just goes, "Play the abortion song!" And all these fucking girls just turned and just gave him a sour face.
The first time I saw Radiohead, who I'm not a fan of, but I've seen twice, and both times I've walked away from it going like, I don't understand the appeal. But my brother, who really hates Radiohead, like I like a handful of their songs, the ones that sound like songs.
Yeah.
And but they keep playing, my brother just keeps yelling out, "Play Creep, Thumb!" And then when they finished and left the stage at the end of the night, he's like, "Thumb, come back! You forgot to play Creep."
People in England worship their ass.
People here worship
here.
them
But
too.
like they could put out an album that's just nothing on it, just a blank record,
and it would be
some music of it. They are amazing. They have challenged our concept of what music is.
Yes, and I've seen, and I want to get it. Like the person in me who because there's many bands that I've hated and then I've come back to and been like, oh, now I understand the appeal. Like The Cure, I hated The Cure all through high school, and at some point it clicked. I'm like, oh, and now they're one of my like favorite.
It's hard
bands.
not to hate them in high school.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And then you get real sad and turn 20, and you're like, oh, I now understand the appeal. But like with Radiohead, I've seen them twice, 5 years apart, and both times I was like, this is not fun.
I
Nothing
think
about
OK
this is
Computer
enjoyable.
is a good album.
Don't like OK Computer, but Kid A, I love. I
Really?
love every track on that record, and it's weird because it's a
or
record
as my
by a band.
friend likes to call it, Kid Filler.
See, I think it's great. I like the weird blippy bloopy noises, and like they have songs, and the bass is pretty good. And I think the members of the band are talented. I've liked many of the projects they've done outside of Radiohead.
I like what's his face's work with Wes Anderson. That's about it. That's his not Wes Anderson, P.T. Anderson.
P.T. Anderson. Oh yeah, that score's great. Even
stuff's
the
great,
Eraser
but-
record that Tom York did, I like.
Ah, God, I can't stand, like, they make my blood boil, because in my head, it's just like, hi, welcome to the dorm, alright, so you're gonna be in 3B, and here's your Radiohead albums, and welcome to college.
I was hoping that would be the kind
There
of
was
college
there
Oh,
were
I
so
got.
many.
Shit,
there
my
were so
brother studied abroad like Oxford or something, and they loved them up there because they're from around that area, so everything was Radiohead.
They're one of the Radiohead and Tool are like the two bands that periodically come back and go, I still don't like this.
Well, no, this is how out of it I am. Is when I hear Tool, I think of that mid '90s like industrial stuff, and then people tell me they did all kinds of other shit, and I'm like, I still think of them as the weird videos
with the little guy and there's the worm in the pipe.
Yeah, and the T-shirt with like the wrench that looks like a
dick.
donkus. Yeah,
Donkus.
my friend Jeff had that shirt.
I almost got into a fight in the parking lot at the Liquid Zoo the other night saying I didn't like Tool. Like, their fans are not to be fucked with. So, can I lightning round ask a question? Worst band you've ever seen or act you've ever seen?
Oh, I was gonna say that's the best one. We could do both.
Let's do both.
Yeah. Kyle,
Chuck Berry.
worst or best?
Worst.
Really?
Yeah, I saw him at the Gibson Amphitheater in like 2002, and it was the worst I've ever seen anyone perform ever.
Really?
I saw him play at a casino, and it wasn't great neither.
I
But
found
we
out,
were yelling
though,
for my ding-a-ling the whole time.
His rider is
song, that is.
amazing, though.
Really?
Because, like, I guess he requires you to be picked up in an old-time car from the airport, and his rider requires
cameras in the
an
toilets.
amp, a full back line of instruments, and a band that already knows his songs. So he just gets off the plane with, I imagine, a bag full of videos of people peeing and a guitar, performs, watches the videos, and then leaves. But he was horrifyingly bad. That was one of those many things, like, I have trouble listening, and I'm a big Chuck Berry fan, and have trouble with listening to him now because he's so bad.
When he's bad, it's just like he's off key,
And it's
arrested
no
on
excuse,
charges
because
of
I've seen other
unemployment.
people, like other like old guy acts. Like, I saw Al Green, who was transcendent.
I've seen Al Green.
You know,
It's great.
and what made him worse was Little Richard played before Chuck Berry and was amazing.
Yeah.
Just as old and gay as you'd want him to be.
Did he play anything off of his gospel albums?
I was waiting for that.
I want to be straight. I left show business. I want to be straight.
What was the best?
Best?
Oh, yeah.
I'm always torn because, like, performance versus, like, single show versus, like, different things into, it probably comes down to a handful.
Yeah.
There was One Against Me show, but it helped that, like, every band opening was amazing because it was,
Yeah.
like, the Bronx, Chuck Reagan, and Riverboat Gamblers opened. Flog and Molly are definitely up there. Every time I see them, they're great. Bruce Springsteen was incredible. And the Eels.
Oh,
who
fuck
are
yeah.
probably my all-time favorite band. The first time I saw them, when they were super noisy and weird, and at one point they played one of their really sad songs in the middle, just stopped playing, and he just let his guitar start feeding back. And it was just the back band playing lightly during feedback for like 5 minutes, and 15-year-old me was like, "You can do that!" So they were great. I'm trying to think who else. Chuck Reagan's always dependable. Lucero's always dependable. At the Drive-In were fantastic. The band Defiance Ohio are always real consistent. So there's a lot. If I had to pick like one, it might be like the second time I saw Flogging Molly, just because they're so consistent, and I like any band that like fills the room with like a good energy, and just everybody there feels like we're all going to be friends, and this is going to be that summer camp feeling where you walk out of it just ready to like fight the world.
Yeah,
I love that.
Mine for worst has to be the band Live.
Okay, they're on my top 5 worst I've ever seen.
They played.
I napped through part of their
Did they
set.
play I Alone like 15
Oh yeah,
times?
and they played.
And the Dolphins Cry.
The Dolphins Cry. All that shit.
The
right?
15-minute jam-out version of When Dolphins Cry.
Exactly. Just throwing copper all over the place.
And they're such wieners too.
Oh my
like,
God.
There's just nothing.
I'd like to imagine where it's like you hear the stories about the live versions of the live versions of Sister Ray that the Velvet Underground would play would be like 37-minute long versions and 54-minute long versions of Sister Ray. I imagine a 37-minute long version of When Dolphins Cry.
Do you know the most amazing thing my brother was telling me about Sister Ray, about the engineer? Do you know this story?
No.
That they're recording that song, and the engineer recording them hates them.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, they're playing it, and at about the 8-minute mark, he goes, "I don't think they're going to stop." Or maybe 6-minute mark, he's like, "I'm done," and he leaves. And so when you listen, the second half of the song, because of all the vibrations and stuff going on, starts to get weird because there's no engineer in the room. So it just gets messy and crazy, and they
Whip
just
it on me,
keep
Jim.
playing.
Whip it on me, Jim. Whip it on me, Jim.
Damn,
Whip
I
it
love
on me,
that
Jim. Best song to clear out a bar with.
If you ever want to be never get booked to play a party again, just make sure your band has Sister Ray at the ready, just that main riff to just jam on.
Joy Division's version isn't bad either.
Joy Division were a great band for covers. They have a lot of good covers back there.
I love the end of it with the one on the Still album where he's just like, "You should hear our version of Louie Louie,"
which they have, which does exist.
So the worst is live.
The worst is live because our like for whatever reason, Auburn University will bring in the worst bands.
This episode is called "Bad Bands We Saw in College."
Well, no, here's the thing: they'll bring in the worst bands, but somehow I saw a ton of great comedians.
Yeah.
Like, because that's, I guess, what they're budgeted for is like they can't afford huge comedians. They can afford good mid-priced, comedians or whatever. So you see, like, it was right before Chappelle's show, Dave Chappelle came and Louis Black and like Tim and Eric were there one year and like Dimitri Martin. You get like good comedians, and then they would just book Collective Soul and Live and Three Doors Down before Kryptonite.
Oh,
yeah,
I remember when I started working.
Tell me when I'm gone. Love me when I'm gone.
And the thing is, like, the whole time I was in college, the only like decent thing they got was Ludacris. Like, Ludacris came, and I'm a huge fan of Ludacris. Like, he's my favorite rapper when I was in high school. He's the shit. They get Ludacris to come all the way down, and it's like right before Thanksgiving break. It's freezing, and they put him outdoors at a track. Like, instead of just having him in the Coliseum or any of their buildings, he's just outside in it's freezing. Ludacris was wearing mittens, and he looked like a fucking badass because he was wearing white mittens.
Nice.
It was the best.
Look like a badass or look like Frosty.
No,
the
he
Snowman?
looked. That was the thing.
He did close his set with "I'll be back here someday."
He started with "Happy Birthday."
The best.
Oh shit!
The best thing I think I saw was, and I've said before that the Flaming Lips are like Kiss for hipsters, but I love
I gotta
Kiss.
see them. They're still on my list. I haven't seen.
Never seen. Okay,
I've never seen Flaming
I
Lips.
saw the Flaming Lips at Bonnaroo in 2008. No, I was there at 2000. It was 7. Yeah, it was 2007.
That's it.
And they gave out laser pointers to everyone in the crowd, and then at a certain moment they're like, "Yeah, as soon as the countdown starts, I want everybody to shine your laser pointers directly at me." So this countdown, like 10, 9, it gets to 1, kill the lights, and like all the lights, all of Bonnaroo goes black, and like there's just a man made of laser pointers standing on the stage.
Good thing the Predator wasn't there.
It was the coolest shit I've ever seen. It was so awesome.
I had another friend at that show who said the same thing. That it was he still maintains like it's one of the coolest things.
It's one of the coolest, and I was cold sober too. Like I was with a bunch of friends who were on mushrooms. I was like
Bonnaroo is great. It's great because you can see a couple of the best shows you'll ever see like in a row. Sometimes.
Exactly, yeah, and weird shit too, man.
I remember seeing Jimmy Buffett, Bruce Springsteen, and Nine Inch Nails in the same
day. Yeah,
like.
I saw Elvis Costello, and this is the only time I've ever seen him. It was really fun, but I was very distracted because there were two guys in front of me throwing the biggest double-headed dildo just to one another. So my field of vision, I'm watching Elvis Costello play, and just a giant flesh-colored dildo is just going across my field of vision the whole show. What's yours, Pat?
I'm trying to count because I've seen a lot of really bad shows. And
Pat does notes. You're such a professional.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of really bad ones.
Can I throw another awful band I saw? Oasis.
Oh, really?
Awful.
I always thought they were overrated.
And they played twice as long because the band before them got to play an unsanctioned encore because like Weezer played before them and played a bunch of stuff off Pinkerton for the first time in a decade, and people lost their minds. And Oasis was not going to be shown up.
Yeah.
And so they played 50 more songs that no one asked for, and then ate into the band Cake's time. So Cake got to play 4 songs, and he spent their whole set going, "What the fuck just happened?" I guess we're leaving stage now. Thanks, dicks.
Okay, the best show I ever saw was the P-Funk All-Stars at Centennial Olympic Park in Atlanta for free.
Can't beat that.
Can't beat a free show.
That's a marathon.
Yeah.
Seeing P-Funk live is a marathon because
There's another one I gotta see.
George Clinton will pull everybody on stage. He just probably went around Atlanta and just collected all sorts of weirdos and just put them on stage. Where at the end there was like a guy in like an Aikido outfit doing like Bikram yoga on top of an amp. 3 guys from Morehouse doing their like fraternity step dancing.
Yeah.
His granddaughter singing about hard steel. while George Clinton in the background was like, oh, just like it was like 4 hours long, and it got to the point where probably 80% of the audience had just tapped out because it went 4 hours, and it was just me and my friends and this very just large women in spandex and like some
Goodnight.
guy.
What was it like when you toured with P-Funk? Because I feel like that's a story you
I used to come out of the mothership.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so good. It was, and I remember.
That hasn't happened. There's still time.
It should happen.
Oh,
It
yeah.
will. If y'all listening, George, call me.
I remember my mom. I remember calling my mom at the beginning of it and being like, "Guess what I'm doing right now?" And she's like, "What?" I'm like, "I'm watching P-Funk," and she's just like, "I hate you. I
Was
hate
she a
you
P-Funk
so."
fan?
Oh, it's huge. That
was one of those things that I was alone on for a long time.
Yeah,
I love
huge
me some P-Funk.
fan.
People not down sometimes.
Yeah, a huge fan of Parliament, Funkadelic, huge fan of Bootsy Collins, all the side projects. She liked Parliament and Funkadelic. So P-Funk.
I could listen to Bootsy Collins talk for days.
Everybody. That's the one thing the one thing that I hate about certain radio edits of the song Groove is in the Heart is they cut out Bootsy. They cut out the Q-tip rap all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was the guy going like this. No, that's a fact. You can ask my brother, and you can ask my friend Kevin. I was in that band. I was in Delight. I really was.
But like they cut out the part where
Guy.
they cut out the parts where Bootsy Collins is like, "Catch my mama," and it's just like that's the best part. No. Okay, so P-Funk is
I feel like
my
that
best.
song sounds like what Walking Through a Mall in 1991 sounds
Yeah, it was. It really was. I'm gonna say 2, and I'm in the subject time. I apologize. The first one that was a show that I was pumped for. That was a hilariously bad show. In the fact that it was so bad that it was great. Was HR from Bad Brains?
Oh, he's awful.
Because not only is his brain fried, and he's doing like just kind of this reggae stuff that's just weird, but his band got stuck in a snowstorm in Richmond, so it's just HR and this like MIDI music playing in the background, and him just doing karaoke of his own songs.
I saw him play with
he's-
Bad Brains. He was playing an electric guitar that wasn't plugged in.
Oh, I've seen him with Bad Brains, and he doesn't need to do anything.
Yeah, just standing real still, intricately playing something, and we'll never know
Guys,
what.
can I plug this in?
Yeah.
Do you happen to have a pick?
And he doesn't have to sing because everybody else sings all this stuff for him.
That's a band that does
But-
a good job of hurting how good they are.
But the
As a
background,
history.
the rest of the band can play their asses off. But he just is like there, and he's like, "Ooh, and he's just like making noises, and he can't get high. Well, he can get high, but he can't get the high pitches. He's probably smoked so much that he can't get high pitch. But he's just like,
Do you ever see American Hardcore?
Yeah.
I love that he does his interview laying in a suit in what's clearly a wedding going on in the background.
and he's just like making like these noises, and it would just end, and everybody there'd be like there were 6 of us there, and he would just be like, yeah, Rastafari, Naya Bingi love, and he would just go into another thing where it sounded like just elevator music with HR making noises over it. But afterwards, he was a great guy. He was just like, I booked another show, and here's free tickets for everybody. I really apologize. And he was such a nice guy. Like, he was so nice, and it was just like, I'm a huge Bad Brains fan.
I'll forgive him if he plays Big Takeover. I've seen him twice, and they've not played it twice.
They played it when I saw him.
You son of a bitch.
The worst, objectively, the worst show that I ever saw, there was this bar and grill in Atlanta called Mulligan's. And Mulligan's was known for making food that would be so disgusting that it would get onto Jay Leno or something like that. Because it would be like those things where it's like 3 burger patties, 4 hot dogs on a Krispy Kreme donut.
I'm listening.
Just like ridiculous stuff with chili on it.
We'll go, Kyle. I'll tell you.
Yeah. No, it closed. It actually closed because of
Too many people
massive health code violations. Because apparently there was standing sewage in the kitchen.
Oh, great.
But they would have
blackjack
shows.
Mulligan on
Yeah, he probably did.
Before he went to jail for counterfeiting.
So anyway, they used to have punk shows there, and I remember going to one, and there was this guy that was sitting there in like kind of cargo shorts and New Balances, and he looked like fucking Rick Astley. And we were just like, oh, why's Rick Astley here? Me and my friend were just like, oh, why's Rick Astley here? He looked like it was either Rick Astley or grown-up Ferguson Darling from Clarissa Explains It All. But he was sitting at the bar.
Was he fucking Clarissa? Because didn't he go up through a window?
No, you're thinking
and
of
shit?
Sam.
No, you thought
that
it
was
was
Sam.
brother.
No,
Yeah,
Ferguson's
Ferguson was the brother. That's right.
And upon reinspection, Sam is clearly gay.
Yeah.
And it's her gay friend, and that's why no one in the family fights it.
Yeah.
Because then he gets into the all-girls
'Cause
school.
otherwise,
They're really
he's
telegraphing.
just like coming in and out. He could have been fucking Clarissa every night.
And definitely
man.
wasn't.
I would have done that. I ain't lying.
So there was
Now, if you're listening, honey.
Melissa
More
Joan
offer than
Hart.
Yeah,
Harvey.
exactly.
So there's this guy, and he leaves, and we're just like, Astley couldn't take it. He couldn't give up. He gave up. I go into the bathroom, and this guy is putting on Misfits makeup, and like he's wearing his New Balance shoes, but he has like these spats that look like they're made out of they were made out of electrical tape.
I'm
They
excited
were
'cause I
made
know
out of
where this is
electrical
going.
tape, and he just looks like a mess. Mesh shirt,
Would
all
you
this
say
stuff.
that he looks like an American Psycho?
And he hold your horses.
I didn't give it away. Our audience
and
has to
he-
know a
and
lot of
he-
information to get there.
Wait for it.
So I leave, and I'm just like, yeah, there's this fucking weirdo putting on his Weekend Warrior set, and it's the guy that's like the Rick Astley guy is like dressing up like a misfit. And then this guy comes up and is like, all right, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Graves. And I was like, oh my God, this is, because I'm not a fan of Michael Graves' Misfits when they wrestled in WCW, but I'm a huge fan of the original Misfits with Danzig. And so I was just like, what the hell is this? And he gets up there and he's like, hey everybody, you guys ready to rock and roll? And I was just like, what is just happening here? I don't fucking get it. And everybody just leaves, and he's doing like this like weird dancing, like it's just like, I watched for like 3 songs because I just tried to comprehend what the fuck was going on. Because he was dancing like he was a backup dancer for Tiffany. I'll have to say that was just, it was surreal. It was so
it's embarrassing.
surreal that it's just like, I walked in, this guy is granted, but he was selling albums as the Misfits, taking Glenn's spot. And Danzig is a train wreck in himself.
You can't be in the Misfits and not then have a horrible life.
Yeah, but then he's just like he goes from being looking like some just in his the cool REI dad clothes, and then turning in and wearing like a punk outfit that he made from shit that he bought at like Lowe's or something like that.
Yeah, what's more punk than that?
And not in an awesome DIY way. It's like I'm dressing up for Halloween and I'm going to dress up like the Misfits for the accounting department Halloween contest, and everybody's just It was the worst. It was by far. It was he was out of tune. Everybody was out of tune that was playing with him. I think they were just taking the piss out of him. His backing band. He was just like, "All right, everybody," and it was just like, "This isn't evil. This is." He's like a male cheerleader.
You make it sound like punk Richard Simmons.
Yeah, it was a punk Richard Simmons.
He is a little bit of a punk Richard Simmons.
What's yours? Goodnight. Best and worst.
Worst. I'll say the Foo Fakers.
Really?
Yeah, you've seen them?
They're amazing. They're on my
Were you
best
there
list.
yesterday?
No.
Oh no,
Did
it
they play
was
yesterday?
Saturday.
I missed I haven't seen them in a
My
couple
brother
years.
likes tribute bands, and so he always.
Oh wait,
begs
you
me-
mean like the actual Foo Fakers?
the Foo Fakers? They're
Oh, okay.
I'm not
I was
talking
gonna
about the Foo Fighters.
I was gonna say
I'm talking
Foo
about
Fighters
the
are
Foo
one of the
Fakers.
See, I thought there was some clever word work.
They
there.
are a tribute.
Oh, okay.
to the Foo
That I
Fighters.
imagine is awful.
My brother likes tribute bands. He took me to see the Petty Breakers, a tribute to Tom Petty, and Foo Fakers were opening for him.
Ooh, no.
And
No, that's not good.
Their sound and music, they had the sound kind of down, but the guy could not sing that good, and they didn't. If I'm gonna want to see a tribute band, they got to dress like the band because that's the point. But I mean, the Foo Fighters aren't terribly visually distinctive anyway. And so they didn't terribly look like him. So it just when you have just
Then
a
they
bunch
just sound
of
like
guys,
kind of a shitty band.
it's just like a shitty bar band that likes the Foo Fighters
I've
a lot.
seen many a bar band cover the Foo Fighters, and it's never a good plan.
I'd really be into the only Foo Fighters cover band that I'd want to see is Mini Foo.
Well, there's like
Mini-
midgets.
Yeah,
that'd
be good.
I mean, that doesn't exist, but I think that there should be more vertically challenged cover bands because Mini Kiss is the most awesome thing ever.
I would totally. Go
I'd love to
Mini
see
Kiss.
Mini Motorhead too. I love Motorhead.
I like
But
the idea
think
that Mini Motorhead is just fronted by regular Lemmy, though.
I like Little Mr.
They
T.
still kick ass.
I've seen Little Mr. T was a midget wrestler.
I've seen Little Mr. T drunk at a bar before.
No shit. Was he with Cowboy Lang?
He might have been.
He was one of the best midget wrestlers there was.
I was at the Powerhouse over on Highland one night drinking with a buddy, and midget Mr. T was there shit hammered with a bunch of hot ladies. who were
Should
taking
I ask him
care
about
of-
Wrestle Rock '86?
The only vertically the greatest vertically challenged person I ever saw was at an XFL game.
You went to an XFL game?
I'm kind of
Yes.
jealous right now.
That's its own
amazing.
show in and
And
of
this was-
itself.
That's an episode.
The XFL is at the end was so ridiculous.
Because it was so good at the beginning.
Well, it just turned into just like flotsam and jetsam at the end. Just like it was just like if you took like a shitty biker bar and you just threw it on top of it, put it in the citrus bowl. There you go. But there was just people fighting. And just it was like the infield of a NASCAR race. People just rednecks fighting.
Are you sure this wasn't WCW Road Wild?
It
or
was
something like
insane. And then out of nowhere, I just hear, "Hey guys, check this out!" And I look over, and it's a dwarf, and he just is drunk off his own ass, and he kicks himself right in the face and knocks himself out. I was like,
And at that point, did it occur to you you're just in a Hieronymus Bosch painting?
I was in redneck.
I was looking for the ice skaters.
Yeah, I was in redneck Bosch painting, and it was just like,
Wouldn't that be Dolly?
Oh,
Actually, a
my
redneck
God.
on this Bosch painting.
oh, geez, it was. Continue.
I remember my friend's prized possession for a while was an XFL football.
Oh, I had an XFL football.
I
and
feel like those have got to be collectible at this
I
point.
lost it. I want to get an XFL jersey.
I'm
That'd
just,
be
dude, I want the
Stone Cold Steve Austin still rocks the XFL jersey on occasion, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh man,
I want a
I
I
want
want a
one of
Birmingham
those.
Bolts jersey.
I saw one of
feel like
those.
it's only right.
Actually, we got one for a friend of ours, Slapnuts, Joe Larquente. If we got him, we found it in a Building 19, which is like a New England surplus chain. And I think it might have been like New York, New Jersey Hitmen or something like
Yeah.
that. And we found one. We actually sent it to him as a Christmas gift.
if anybody could find an XFL He Hate Me jersey, I would pay top dollar for that.
He ended up in the NFL.
Yeah, Rod Smart. Yeah, Rod Smart did, and he ended up playing for the Panthers. That Super Bowl. He was their return guy. So what's the best concert you ever saw? There was the Foo Fakers.
I want to say that the Petty Breakers were pretty good. But the best, this is just Saturday. The best was either Prince or Dred Zeppelin.
Ooh.
Dred Zeppelin is awesome.
Dred Zeppelin is the shit. And they were very entertaining, too. As well. I mean, they did My Way. They did little comedy bits in between the songs where they did like a Q&A with Tort Elvis. And they asked them about, like, oh, shit.
Well, Tort?
Tortel, that was the Elvis impersonator guy that was the singer,
The lead singer.
for the band.
Oh, okay.
you know this?
They asked him about his McDonald's or something. He was like, "Oh, I prefer the McRib" or something like that.
I'm a big fan of Heartbreaker at the End of Lonely Street.
Yeah, that was one of the best
That's
ones.
my favorite.
The one thing with Dred Zeppelin though is
I thought you said Extreme Elvis.
Well,
for a
it
second.
was a little bit overbooked though, because it was like you can have like a reggae Led Zeppelin and you can have an Elvis Led Zeppelin. But a reggae Elvis Led Zeppelin is a little bit overbooked at times. Paul Joe.
Yeah,
remember that?
that's right.
Yeah.
That sounds like just like a Mojo Nixon creation that just became real.
Yeah.
They were on Beavis and Butthead.
They were,
once.
that was like I think most people found out about him that week.
Yeah, that's how I found out.
Me too.
about
And
him.
I saw him and I was like, I gotta get this tape. And I went and I got the tape on Lennon. And I was like, oh, this is the shit. And so a couple of years ago, I had an opportunity to see them at I think it's closed now, the Dive at Brixton. And I'm not going to say musically it was the best thing I ever saw, but in terms of I'm just watching, I'm like, I could do something like this with my life.
Hypnotic.
Yeah.
And inspiring.
Well, since my baby left me, I found a new place to dwell. It's down at the end of Lonely Street. That's a Heartbreak Hotel.
Prince was good. I actually saw him like 3 times or something, and I can't remember offhand which was the best one. But the thing with Prince is you never know exactly what you're going to get. But when he's on, it's crazy. It's like a church. It's like a crazy purple church of like crazy dancing women and light shows. And I was at the LA Forum, you understand? And it's like you're at the Church of Prince when you're there, and it's hard not to get swept up in it all. And his musicianship, as we all know, is damn good.
Because I feel like I want to see Prince in the same way that like when I saw Springsteen, I was like, I don't get this. Then you watch it, this is why this caught on.
It might be like that. The thing is, a preacher, you really do never know, because some nights he's in like a greatest hits kind of mode, but other nights he'll just play like obscure shit, and he'll jam a lot. And if you get one of those, I mean, you might not recognize the songs, but that's probably the most special shit.
A lot of the best bands I've seen are bands who like I've heard are good, but like don't know their stuff really well.
Yeah.
And I like that sometimes because then you're not waiting for that song you want to hear.
Yeah, you know what I saw like that was really good once was that, actually it was really good. I gotta mention this too when it comes to good. At one point I went to this political thing called like Tell Us the Truth tour, like during the war and shit, like last decade. And, there was a couple of guys that really impressed me in that, and these weren't even guys that I really like. One was the Night Watchman.
Yeah.
Oh, Tom Morello's.
Yeah, it was damn good. And another was Steve Earle.
Another one of my favorites, but I've missed.
I've
a
never
lot.
seen Steve Earle perform, but
The two that blew me away live that I knew nothing from were the Dillinger Escape Plan. I don't know if any of you guys have seen them. Holy fuck nuts! They burn more calories per capita per song than any other band I've ever seen, and they just play like metal jazz music.
Yeah.
They're like flipping their full guitars, like swinging around their bodies between breaks and like hanging upside down and just never not moving. And so you're just watching them going like, they're gonna hurt themselves. And the other one like that is Band of Horses. So on the flip side, you're like, oh, everything they do is pretty and great.
Have y'all ever seen Fart Barf?
I've seen Barf, but I have not seen.
They're local. They're local. They're these guys. It's like 3 of them, and they play this music. It sounds like the music to a Nintendo game, but like you can dance to it. And they wear these like gorilla outfits when they
hunt them down.
I know they're local guys. You
All
can see
4 of
them.
us need to go see Fart
Yeah,
because this
I used
awesome.
to introduce them sometimes on stage, including at the Whiskey a Go Go. So you know now that Goodnight been on the same stage as that Jim Morrison guy, or rather Jim Morrison has been on the same stage as Goodnight.
You didn't have to sell 50 tickets.
No, I didn't. No.
Kyle, where can folks find you online?
I'm at Kyle Clark on the Twitter, or at Kyle Clark is rad. I don't even remember my own Twitter handle. That's how not involved I am.
And you take the opportunity to be self-aggrandizing. Good job.
At Kyle Clark
in a
is-
90s kind of way. That's what I really love.
At Kyle Clark is rad.
Clark is tubular. At Twitter.
Pizza, dude.
My web series Nerdtern, and then you can hear me laughing in the background on the Nerdist podcast.
Well, Kyle, thank you for joining us. Once again, this is the Goods from the Woods.
Thank you for a funky time. Call us up whenever you want to grind.
I never saw Leonard Skynyrd, but I sure saw Molly Hatchet with 38 Special and the Johnny Van Zandt Band.
The Goods from the Woods is mixed and edited by me, Rivers Langley, and distributed by Westcast Network. Our theme song is composed by DJ Smiles. You can find him online at djsmiles.net.